work for that just scared me. I work for Devon in as part of the events coordination, which involves most of our online events, right? And on mainly on the client side as well. It's actually my second time being a part of one of these sessions hosted by one of our career coaches, Tiffany. So thank you, Tiffany, for having me here, right? Uh, like I said, we hold these events like these weekly events every Wednesday, right? It's something that, I'm glad you guys are here to take advantage of, right? And I hope to see you guys more often in our events coming forward. And like just so you guys know, you can find all our events in the website dewan.ca under calendar. I'll put it into this chat as well right after I finish speaking, which will be now. So thank you, Tiffany. You can go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Tiffany. I have worked with Devon for maybe a year and a half so far. So I am one of the coaches. So if you feel like you want to book a session with me, you're more than welcome to do so. A lot of the work and my background is within social service work and employment counseling. So I had started off as a practicum student and was able to eventually secure a role within the field. So anything from resume creation, interview preparation, LinkedIn profiles, and even just kind of having a conversation about, what's working for you so far, what's not working. We know with the current market, it can be quite tricky to even obtain an interview. So any questions that you have, we will definitely provide ample time for that. I see we have a few more attendees. I saw that the number went up. So when you get a chance, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. You can put your name, program. Since this is about networking, you can also include your link to your LinkedIn profile as well. So, as you heard, I just hit record not too long ago. So you will be receiving this in your email as well once it becomes available. Everyone is muted at this time, but if you do feel like you want to raise your hand and ask a question, you're more than welcome to do so. If you're someone who likes to have your video off, by all means, that's okay as well. For questions, I would highly encourage you to make use of the Q&A option that we have on here. Sometimes your questions can get lost in the chat, so just make sure you're plugging them into the Q&A. I believe the link was also shared for our upcoming workshops, but maybe we could just include that again for those who just joined.
I'll put it right now.
Perfect. So just a little bit about Devant. So I know it says 48,000, but
Oh yeah.
the last time I believe the last time I facilitated, I think it was 55,000.
55 and growing and growing.
Exactly, exactly. So please disregard the 48. It's 55,000 international students that have been supported through Devant. So Devant provides free advice from career coaches and industry experts at our live events. Devant is one of the first organizations that I have seen really make use of AI when it comes to job search. And they also support with introductions to partners and employers to support you in your immigration, academic life, and career development. So, our agenda for this evening, we will be going over what exactly is the hidden job market. We're going to talk about strategies to grow your network, cold messaging, and like I mentioned before, we're going to have some time at the end to address any questions or concerns that you have. It can be in regards to networking or anything else that you may think of. Okay, sorry, I don't know why this opened up twice. Let me just briefly pause for a second. Let me go back and share. Sorry about that. Perfect. So is anyone able to type in the chat, what do you believe is the hidden job market? So when you hear that term, what exactly do you think that means? So maybe you've heard it before, but you're not sure. That's okay too. You can take a guess. So what do we think it means when we say hidden job market? Maybe.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts about it?
So someone put in the
That,
Q&A.
that's one way.
Yeah, so they said the job's exclusive, open for internal workers already within the company and direct contacts. Um, Someone said referral opportunities, networking, internal hiring, um, the job positions that really exist, usually not posted online. Yeah, so absolutely. So it's roles that are available, but not necessarily advertised to everyone on LinkedIn or everyone on Indeed. Perfect. So we're just going to get into that a little bit more. So about 85% of vacant positions are filled by someone in the recruiter or hiring managers network. So accessing the hidden job market is really about finding the unadvertised jobs and getting first in line. So that's where networking will come in hand. And we'll talk about that a bit more, because of course the stronger relationships, the more you're able to build a rapport with certain individuals, the more likely they are to refer you to a job that they have available at a company or refer you to a job, to someone else who might be looking to fill a role. So, networking should be a core focus of your job search. So, yes, there's resumes that is extremely important, and I hope everyone is tailoring to the best of their ability for each job that they apply for. However, in this current day and age, in this market, if you can get a referral from someone, if you can get a reference into a role, it really does make a difference. So, I'll just go ahead and share even with how I got this role at Devant. There was a colleague I attended school with many, many years ago. And we would still maintain contact. Even something as small as wishing someone happy birthday, just sending them a message to see how they're doing. And you want to ensure that you're reaching out to them, not just because you need something from them, right? So we always want to make sure that there's that mutual benefit, and it's not just us reaching out to them, requesting something from them. So she was aware of my background and my experience, and when an opportunity became available, I was one of the first people she had thought of to put forward for this role. So it just goes to show you, I promise I'm not making it up for the sake of the workshop. It really is something that happens. So, have you expanded your network since you moved to Canada? Or maybe you didn't move to Canada, you've already been here. Um, do you feel like you've worked on your network? Has it expanded? Has anyone supported you with a referral, a coffee chat, an informational interview?
All you guys write your answers as well in the chat. I think similar to Tiffany's story, even my role at Devon, and I work on the internal team itself, not as a career coach, has to do everything with networking. You might have heard someone else from the team. Her name is Sisha. She's the one that you see in a lot of our immigration weekly events that happen, with Elizabeth in our Get Hired at Home. Her and I used to be one of her students at U of T. And then we used to work together at U of T. And after she left, I still kept that contact going as well, right? Even like 3 years later, it helped me land this role at Devon. So as Tiffany had mentioned as well, it's about keeping it on a consistent basis, on a long-term basis, not just something for the short term, for any immediate type of like needs that you want that you need to talk about, right? So just building it and then make sure that you stay in contact with them. That's important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And on LinkedIn as well, there is a specific tab that they've created to let you know when someone has started a new job, when it's someone's birthday. And the easy thing about that is that it creates the prompts for you, so you don't even have to go in and draft or create a whole message from scratch. It kind of does the work for you. So even just something small like that, I find really does go a long way. So we have someone in the chat here. It says not so much within their similar field. So that's okay. That's what the workshop is all about this evening. So we'll just go over a few different strategies as to how to build your network. So we have the opportunity of a part-time job or an internship. So like I shared, I had to do a co-op as a part of my program. So if you have the opportunity to do an internship or a co-op, I highly, highly recommend doing that. It pairs extremely well with your certificate or your diploma or your degree that you have. It's amazing to have that experience as well. And you might gain a reference. So we want to make sure that throughout this process of applying for jobs, we also have 3 strong references that we can put forward as well. The second point that we have on there is volunteering. So again, I know we're all looking for a job here. We need a source of income. We have groceries to purchase, bills to pay. We're trying to save a little bit. So, depending on your needs, maybe volunteering is not a priority for you at this time. But if it's something that you notice, okay, I've been looking for a job for months now, I haven't had any interviews, let me try this out. At least I'll be gaining experience. I'll be gaining a reference, and it will support you with your job search. Third, we have LinkedIn groups. So I support in my full-time role aspiring data analysts. So one of the things I encourage them to do is to join groups on LinkedIn, anything related to SQL, anything related to Python, anything related to projects, a GitHub profile. So I encourage them to introduce themselves on there. Maybe you can search for keywords, so you can type in your city to see if anyone else has posted something on there, and so on and so forth. So just type in your title and the role that you're aiming for, and you should be able to find a group that you can join as well. Lastly, we have joining professional affiliations. So I know with HR, I think they have something called CHRP, social work. You have registered social service workers. So again, if that's something you are able to afford, depending on your field, if it's regulated or not, I would highly encourage you to do this as well. You can book coffee chats, informational interviews with individuals, and most likely they are well connected, and they can do referrals as well. So there's a few more that we have on here. So getting involved. So if you're in school, I would encourage you to get involved in clubs or any organizations on campus. Professors and support staff. Professors are a huge one. So I think even if you apply for like grad school, for example, you need to have an academic reference. So just make sure you're staying in contact with your professors. My program liaison from when I was in college before is someone that I still stay in contact with. And when I'm ready to job search, I will definitely be reaching out to her. And I'm able to do so because we have had so many years of building up that relationship and rapport together. The third one there, so if you're within the tech world, you can compete in a hackathon. See what you can do, a new strategy, something out of the box. Lastly, I think this is a very important one. So all of you who are in this room this evening are already doing this. So attending workshops. So I did encourage everyone to include the link for their LinkedIn profiles on here. So hopefully you are all connecting with each other, and accepting those invites. Another website I would encourage you to check for this is Eventbrite. So it's a free website. You can just type in, job fair. You can tailor it to your city and be able to see what events are taking place. So some of them are in person and virtual as well. Okay, lastly, this is the real last one. Cold messaging. So contacting someone who doesn't know you or is not expecting a message from you. So I did this the other day. I think I sent out about 30 messages to, yeah, so 30 different messages, and I didn't get as many responses, but that's why I increased the number of people I sent messages to. So I'm looking to pivot. I'm looking to, look for a different type of role for something that I'm studying for. So I want to ensure that I start building out that network from now. Some people will want to have coffee chats with you. Some people are willing to help, and some people will just open your message, unfortunately, and may not respond. So it happens to me as well. Just want to make sure we're really being careful with the message that we're crafting. We're not just copying and pasting directly from ChatGPT. Please don't do that. I've seen people who accidentally copy even the prompt and send that to me as well. So just be mindful, when you're doing that copy paste, whether it's to someone on LinkedIn or even onto your resume, just make sure the formatting is matching everything else. So, how to approach cold messaging? So, the first thing that we want to do is set a plan. We want to make sure that we sit with this for a little bit. We think about what we want to do before we jump right in and get started. So, first, we want to make a list. Who exactly will you be contacting? If you're someone who likes spreadsheets and you like that type of organization, by all means, go right ahead just so you can keep track of your attempts. Second, find their contact information. How will you be contacting them? Will you be trying to find their email through their company website? Will you be sending them a message on LinkedIn? And third, set timelines. When will you do this by? I believe that it is something that can be time consuming. So just make sure you set time aside to be able to do this. Next is increase your chances of getting a reply. So understand that the goal of your first message should be to get a reply and not a job offer. So, my LinkedIn messages sometimes are flooded with, "Can you help me get a job? Can you please help me?" Or they send me a copy of the resume and I'm not exactly sure what they want me to do with this. So there was no small talk, there was no even fake rapport building. It was just kind of like, I need a job. You posted this, here's my resume. So please make sure that you are leaving room to get to know the person. Maybe they have a dog named Billy. They would love if you asked about their dog. So it's just small things like that, that really, really do make that difference. Um, we want to ensure that we're crafting a short and sweet message. You can always have someone look this over as well, or even just read it out loud to yourself. Does this make sense? If someone sent me a message like this, how would it make me feel? Would I be inclined to support them? Would I be inclined to refer them to a job? Third, you want to include a comment about something you found interesting in their profile. So maybe they completed a certain certification for something. Maybe, you like the way they just climbed the ladder in terms of their employment, and be clear about why you're messaging them. So we want to ensure we're asking for one thing and not multiple things. So we're not asking them to, look at my resume and send me jobs, right? So once you've had that initial first conversation, that's kind of when we can put in our ask from them. Um, and the stronger your relationship is, the more you'll be able to do this, and it'll be a little bit easier. We don't want to include attachments in your first message. So, like your resume, I've had this happen a few times where people, right after a workshop like this, or it will be someone who came across my profile on LinkedIn, will just send me their resume. And sometimes they don't even say anything, they just send their resume only. So please, again, try to avoid doing this. Next is use the voice feature for a personal touch. So that's definitely optional, like it says there. I know for me, I've seen a lot of people, when you go to your own profile, you can pronounce your name or pronounce your last name. and then someone can click on it to hear how it sounds. So I think that would also be very handy. And then lastly, look for a mutual connection. So that is always a great segue to, get access to HR, to speak to a recruiter who's hiring for that specific role. Okay, so I want to know, and you can use the reaction that you have there. So please, you can give me a thumbs up, you can give me a thumbs down, you can type in the chat what your thoughts are if you were to receive a message like this. So the first one is, hello, ma'am, how are you? So if you receive this message from a job seeker, what would your initial thoughts and feelings be? Would you be inclined to support this person? Maybe not so much. What would your thoughts be on their initial message to you?
You guys are putting thumbs up. It's very true. I would actually think this might be a bot. Not gonna lie, there's been a lot of different bot messages on LinkedIn and other social media sites as well, and they usually start off with something simple like this. So you definitely want to make it more personalized, I would say, right, Tiffany?
Yeah, absolutely. And even introduce yourself, right? Hi, give me a job. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Okay, what about this one? So I'll go ahead and read it. It says, hi, Kumar. I saw you joined Google a year ago. How have you enjoyed the work environment in the IT department since starting with the company? I'm starting my job search myself, and Google is one of the top companies on my list, but I always like to ask firsthand about the environment at the company. So, what do we think about these two now that we look at them? Do we think this is better? Is there anything that could have been changed possibly? Yep, so the second one is more relevant to start the conversation, a discussion. Absolutely. Looks way better. Yeah, you're providing at least a little bit more information. I like that, they mentioned a little bit like, yeah, I am job searching, but that's not the only reason as to why I'm reaching out. And you're just asking about the environment, right? Maybe they say it's great. They're getting to know you a little bit more, and maybe they think you'd be a good fit and then refer you into the job. That's the dream. All right. So we have another example here. It says, hi, Gloria. I'm currently looking for a job with your organization. Kindly look at the attached resume and tell me what I should improve. Thank you. So what do we think about this one?
A lot of surprise reactions. That's so true. Homework that I've been paying you.
Exactly. That is a no for me as well. Yep. That's exactly what it seems like, right? I wouldn't be too thrilled about receiving a message like this. It's like, okay, great. I have to open the resume and give them feedback. I don't even know this person. Yeah, transaction. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They should try at least or attempt to build out a relationship before making this request. So, in the same sentence where they're introducing themselves, is where they're already asking for something as well. And it's not really, maybe you are an extremely strong and qualified candidate for the role, but that type of message, unfortunately, does give off the wrong first impression, right? So we would never want your chances of an amazing opportunity to be affected due to a few sentences. Yeah, that would be funny. Perfect. So I have another one here. You all can take a read at this and let me know what you think. So do we think this is a good message? Maybe not so much. Just give everyone a few more minutes to read and type out their responses. Perfect. Yeah. So it is a great way to start the chat. Um, it asks for a seasoned professional for advice for someone who's just looking to join the industry. So I like that they mentioned, I just completed my degree. So the other person can kind of figure out, okay, well, maybe they're job searching at this time, but let me share a little bit, about my experience. Good rapport, connection, easy answer for the reader. Absolutely. So I am very pleased with this type of message for sure. So I know that there is a component where we go onto LinkedIn. So just give me a very quick second to get that ready. So I think I will just go over what we can do when we are trying to find someone to connect with who works at a company. So I just went ahead and searched for RBC. I think this is just, you know, it's just a very generic employer that I could think of. It's just what came to mind. So I typed RBC in, I clicked onto the company page, and next I'm going to go to people. So I believe from here is where we can kind of filter down a little bit more. So you can search by a specific title, keyword, or school. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Sheridan College. Okay, perfect. So I'll go ahead and click on this. So there's a little over 1,000 people who attended the same institution who now work here. So I think now hold on a second. So yeah, it's just continuing to filter down as well. And then let me see here. I believe now it's showing me people who are employed at RBC who attended Sheridan College. If you're looking for maybe where they live, so I'm within the GTA, then I believe we can also include this as a filter. And then you can just continue to add things to make it more specific. So they also provide the different industry. So yes, it's within banking, but there's also all of these kind of sub departments as well. So if you're looking to get into customer service, we can click on that. And now we're looking at people who work at RBC, who live within the GTA, who attended Sheridan College, who works within customer service. So this has narrowed the list down quite a bit. So it makes it a little bit more manageable when we want to begin sending out these initial messages. And you can do this with any company. It doesn't have to be RBC. Maybe you want to apply for Rogers. Maybe you want to apply to Devant. You can continue to do this and make these filters as specific as you need to when trying to find people to network with, when trying to send out these cold messages to people as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floor. I will take a few questions and then just kind of wrap up our session for this evening. So we just have like maybe a little over 20 minutes. So any questions that you have, it can be related to networking, it can be related to your job search. I see we have something in the Q&A here from someone and it says, what if you don't have a reference? Then it will definitely be tricky when you're asked for references as you are actively applying. So I know that the minimum is 3 references. So you may want to continue or you may want to start thinking, okay, who could I possibly reach out to? Are there any colleagues? I have these roles on my resume. Um, how could I possibly be able to find someone to speak on them? So sometimes it's not always a supervisor or a manager, it could be a colleague as well. Does Devont have any webinar on LinkedIn? So yeah, they've definitely had seminars on LinkedIn. I'm not sure when the next one for LinkedIn will be happening.
Uh, usually one of our LinkedIn workshops are for our premium customers, right? In terms of people that have access to our portal. So if you are with our portal right now within your affiliated institution or college or university, whatever it may be, we also with some non-profits as well, you're able to access events that are not available to the public. However, we are in talks with making our premium events available to the public as well for a certain fee. If the demand is there, so if the LinkedIn demand is there, then maybe something that I can bring it up with the rest of my team.
Amazing. We have another question here. How can I improve my LinkedIn profile considering that I don't have experience and I'm just starting my career? So if you have graduated from post-secondary, I would maybe really encourage you to ask your peers to write a recommendation for you, ask a professor to write a recommendation for you. You can include the specific courses that you completed while you were in school, any clubs that you were a part of, any associations that you joined, all of that will help. And when it comes to the LinkedIn profile, we just want to ensure that we are filling out all of the fields provided. So when it comes to your profile picture on LinkedIn, I hope none of you have your passport picture as your profile picture. So if you do, you can use this weekend to update that. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to pay hundreds of dollars to go and get pictures taken. You can just wear a dress shirt. You can wear a nice top, a nice blouse. Just blank wall, set up your phone or have someone take the picture of you, and that will suffice. So definitely, if you have a passport picture, we do not want that. When it comes to the banner for your picture, for your header, sorry, I like to use Canva. It's what I use for mine that I have right now. So it's a free website. You just go onto Canva and you type in LinkedIn banner, and it will give you thousands and thousands of different templates for you to pick from. You can customize it according to color, according to size, and update that. Once we have a professional picture and we have a headline, we want to make sure, sorry, we have a picture and a background picture, the headline, we want to make sure that um, we want to make sure that we're including keywords related to the job that we're seeking. So, for example, if you are looking for work within the data field, I would encourage you to have, data analyst. Then you can put a line, you can put SQL, put a line, Python, put a line, Power BI, so on and so forth. So it could be job titles, but it could also be skills that are related to the role. Does cold emailing on LinkedIn work for getting referrals? So, again, I just shared my personal experience with you. I messaged like 30 something people. I think I got like 3 or 4 responses back. I'm hoping people will get back to me as the week kind of progresses or maybe over the weekend. But someone did offer to meet with me at the ending of April. So, it is something that I even practice myself. So again, it may not always be successful, but that's when we increase the volume of messages and the volume of connections. But there's no point in doing all of this on LinkedIn if your profile is not even up to date. So if this person is going to take a look at your profile, we want to make sure that every field is up to date. You have a wonderful summary, your work experience is up to date, you've included responsibilities in there as well. Can you please suggest a good template for professor referrals? Should I attach them to my cover letter? Um, so a professor referral, so is this for an academic reference, like from a professor? You can always go and type in the Q&A to expand on that a little bit more. Does work experience matter for getting the first job here if someone have not done any job? Um, so honestly, that is where the power of tailoring will come in handy. We have the capacity and power to really highlight our transferable skills, right? So maybe you worked, you know, as a cashier and you want to get into a customer service rep role, or a tech support role. We can make those skills transferable. It's just all about how we relay this on the resume. Okay, so we have another one here. Can you please tell what kind of content should we share on LinkedIn if we were working at a place where pictures is not allowed? So yeah, it doesn't necessarily always need to be a picture. Maybe you have a story that you want to share. Maybe you have an interesting story that happened. Maybe something interesting happened, something funny, something inspiring. You can even go onto Google and ask, what types of posts should I make on LinkedIn? Maybe there are a few people who work within your field who are very popular on LinkedIn. You can give them a follow and just kind of keep tabs as to, what they do, what they post. Um, and I know the reason I can keep thinking about data is because I work closely with them. But if you are within the tech field, or this can be done for any job really, but if you have a portfolio, um, and you're working towards a project, or you've done a project in the past, you can definitely post this to your profile. They have a section called featured where you can include that as well. So if you have, a project that you worked on, you can share this on LinkedIn. And the amazing thing about LinkedIn is that anyone who likes or comments on your post, it will automatically be shown on anyone who's connected with them on their timelines. So a lot of the jobs that I share, a lot of the things that I repost, people have been able to view it and take advantage of it because someone in their network liked it, and that's how they were able to view it. Is it better to use the open to work option or not on LinkedIn? So that's a really good question. Honestly, I would try to see, what works best. Maybe you'll give it a few months open to work. Okay, you're not really getting any results, then let's remove it and see if that will make a difference instead. I know for the open to work, I think you may be also you might be able to include the job titles for the roles that you're aiming for. So sometimes, depending on that, recruiters may reach out to you. Depending on how strong of a headline you might have recruiters reaching out to you. So it's really just about the trial and error. One thing that works for you may not work for the other person, depending on your field and industry that you're aiming for. Okay, so yeah, thank you for following up. So it is for an academic referral. They've done so far and they've done good so far in their courses, but you're not sure. So when it comes to the academic referral, I believe it's mostly associated to when you might be pursuing your master's program. So that is what I have usually seen is that you do need to have that professional, that academic reference, sorry. Someone asked what is open to work. So when you go onto LinkedIn, you have, I think you're going to see a little pencil option. And once you click on that and you go to your personal profile, if you are someone who is actively job searching at this time, you will have a little green banner that shows up on your profile picture that says open to work. So it signals to your network or anyone else who comes across your profile that you are someone who is actively job searching at this time. So any other questions? I will go on to the next few slides and hopefully we'll have a few more questions in the meanwhile. So some upcoming sessions that we have. So next Wednesday, which is already Wednesday, April 16th, there is a Q&A with our coaches. So this is a session where you can drop in and ask any job search related questions. So maybe you have some concerns with resumes, interviews, finding jobs to apply for, you're not getting any traction on your applications, then I would highly recommend attending this. Even if you don't have any questions, it's always great to hear what others are asking, listen to a different perspective as well. On the 23rd, we have an immigration Q&A. And then on the 30th, we have another session, and this is called From New Arrival to Financial Pro, and this is supported and sponsored by CIBC.
Just to add on to CIBC
Yeah,
sponsor
go ahead.
session as well. So it's once again one of CIBC's definitely helping us hosting the session with their own expert financial advisors coming in talking about budgeting and the importance of it as a newcomer or international student in Canada. There might be some prizes you can win as well throughout the session. So or even some offers and deals with CIBC accounts. So definitely something you don't want to miss at the end of April. Thank you, Tiffany.
Perfect. So if you were not able to open the link to the Devant website, I would encourage you to go on the website itself and see if you can get yourself registered and set up with this. Save it in your calendar. It is 3 weeks from now, so hopefully you have enough time to get yourself prepared. Let's go to the next slide here. So just a few of the services that Devant provides. So the one-on-one career coaching, I briefly touched on that at the beginning of the presentation. So there are many coaches that we have who work at Devant who are extremely qualified. So if you do find, okay, it's been some time, I really think I need that one-on-one support. I need to brainstorm. I need to strategize. I need to change up my game plan here, then I would encourage you to book a session. Next, we have the LinkedIn profile audit. So you will be receiving custom advice from a career coach covering exactly what should be on your LinkedIn profile specific to your industry and background. Lastly, they have the resume and cover letter writing. So you can get your resume written by a professional so that they can effectively communicate your skills and experience to Canadian employers. We do have a little disclaimer at the bottom there. So if you are enrolled within a post-secondary institution at this time, most likely they have their own career services office, right? I find like every school has this connected. Please feel free to reach out to them, right? Before you pay for a service, just double check that this is available for you so that you're not, losing out on anything. I think there was one slide. I'll just go back to the question slide and I see we have a few things here in the chat. I will also put my own link in here. So if you feel like you want to book with me, by all means, go ahead. Um, so one of the questions that we have here is, do recruiters use LinkedIn to reach people? I have the feeling HR receives huge amounts of CV that mainly are filtered by ATS. So I have even personally received messages from recruiters. So it does happen. And again, it depends on how strong your profile is. Are you showing that you're open to work so that they know you're someone who that they can, reach out to? And your feeling is correct. ATS is definitely being used a lot more now than ever because of the market. It's competitive. They want to receive the best candidates and they're getting way too many resumes. So that's when the ATS comes in. And for those of you who don't know what ATS means, it stands for Applicant Tracking System. And a lot of big organizations use, this type of software for their screening out of resumes. So, before, back in the day, you used to print off a couple of resumes, you could go in person and submit them, but that's not the case anymore, unfortunately. So everything is done online. Even if you go in person, they will tell you to apply to the job online. So that's why we really stress the importance of tailoring, because if you're not including enough keywords from the resume and tailoring for each one of the jobs you're applying for, you may not hear anything back from the employer, unfortunately. We have another question here. I don't have a profile, but I'm looking to create one soon. You have great things you want to post and you want to know if it's okay to have them posted in 1 or 2 weeks. I don't believe that it would look weird. I think for me would just show that this is just someone who's active on LinkedIn. You may have your own personal audience. This may create a different type of traction towards your profile. And it just shows that you're active on there. So yes, posting, is also great, but liking, commenting, that also is really great. Reposting is also supportive as well. So, yeah, I would not think it looks weird. If you have something that you want to share, something meaningful, something helpful, by all means, please feel free to go ahead and do that.
I do want to say consistency is key. If you do post like a lot for like 2 weeks and then you don't post anything at all for a year to come, then that does look weird. Like, what happened? Like, are you still alive kind of type of scenario? So you should definitely, keep posting or keep interacting or having some kind of activity on your profile, because that is actually one of the first things they see. They see your headline and your title, and but then they look at your activities, like what have you reposted, what have you posted yourself. So that's something you just want to stay consistent with. Sorry, Tiffany, go ahead.
Oh, that's a really great point to mention. Thank you so much for including that. I appreciate it. And I've seen that myself, right? Where someone is super active on there, like they're a LinkedIn influencer, and then all of a sudden they go, basically ghost, and you wonder what happened to them. I'm doing career coaching and I want to work with Devant. I believe we can possibly touch base with you on that. I'm not sure if they are hiring or looking at this time, but maybe we can connect. So hi, I applied. Um, okay, so you just connected with me on LinkedIn. So you can always book a session with me as well if you want to discuss job search strategies. I would be more than happy to support with that. We have something in the Q&A. It says, I've heard a lot of people saying that Canadian experience is something relevant. What recruiters look into for this experience? Does this type of job matter? So it's not supposed to matter. I don't really enjoy the term Canadian experience because to me, any job that you've worked, if it's related to your education, it's related to your field of work, to me is relevant. It doesn't matter where it's from. Unfortunately, there is a bias, right? Unfortunately, there is a bias when it comes to, this Canadian work experience. So I have seen that it does affect job seekers, right? I have seen people having to accept roles that, basically make them underemployed because they're so much more qualified than that. It is unfortunate. And again, I don't think it's a fair practice, especially, when you've taken the time to learn, you have the skills and the education for it. So it's not necessarily fair, but it's what I've seen. Um, Even with employment gaps, people do discriminate based off of gaps in resumes as well. So I know, I work with a lot of mothers who are returning to work. And unfortunately, they face a bias because they've had gaps of, 6 to 7 years. They had children, they moved countries. So all of that is, does make a difference. Any other questions? We have about 5 minutes left. Anything else that we could think of? Anything else that we're wondering in terms of LinkedIn, or networking or messaging? So we have a question here. Can you please advise as to how to find a field experience position, paid or unpaid? So again, I have a bias. I like LinkedIn, but there's also a website here. I'll just put it in the chat. It's called Charity Village. This is another website that's like a job search engine that has been extremely reliable for myself, for the clients that I serve and support. Um, so this usually they have like volunteer opportunities here as well. So again, if that's something that you're able to do, then amazing. As you are still job searching at the same time, it's something to add onto your resume. Um, so yeah, please take a look at that website and ensure you can even sign up for job alerts. So something you can do is go onto ChatGPT and say, if you're looking for a customer service rep, can you please generate a list of job titles related to customer service and sign up for those job alerts so that you're not missing out on anything. So which link are you referring to that you did not receive in chat? So I think we have the link for Canva, we have the link for the
I,
coaches.
I think she means your career coach link. I will send it.
Okay. Anything else we could think of? Please make use of this time. If you're a job seeker, we really want to support you. So anything you could think of for these last couple minutes, I think you can even submit a question and be anonymous if you don't want us to know, who you are, but you still want an answer to something that you're unsure of. Okay, so we have a question here. I have a lot of experience from back home as an engineer, and I have been advised to apply for entry-level jobs or, on the other hand, engineering supervisory jobs. What is your opinion? So, I would definitely want to gauge a little bit about what's been working for you so far. How many interviews have you had? How many roles do you apply for on a weekly basis? And that will kind of help me gauge a little bit as to what's working and what's not working. If you're someone who gets lots of interviews, that tells me that your resume is doing its job and taking you to the next step. But if you're getting interviews and not offers, that tells me we need to work a little bit on your interview skills. So, for this specific case, I would probably encourage you to have different styles of resumes. So, one focused a little bit more on entry level and one focused a bit more on the supervisory role. So, having two different copies And whenever those roles become available, ensuring that you're applying as soon as you can, because they're receiving a floodgates of resumes as soon as the job is available. So just making sure you are applying as soon as you can. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until 2 days. The sooner you can apply for a job, the better. And then once you submit your application for the job, we want to ensure that we are following up with a message to someone who works in HR or someone who works within the same department. So I will go ahead and stop sharing. It is 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for those of you who attended this evening, for those of you who asked questions. I hope that this was helpful. And please ensure that you do sign up for future events. The Q&A is one of my favorite ones because it gives you the chance and opportunity to ask anything that you like. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
Everyone, thank you for joining. I'll see you guys for the next week's session.